Hey everyone, so for this one I think we're just going to mess around with the transform tab and probably just transform a box since it has some corners and see where it takes us. So let's just get started in Grasshopper. I'm going to bring out the perspective. We'll type in box. Okay, let's use center box for now. Okay, and let's start with a 25 number slider for each one of these. We'll just make it all the same dimension for now. All right. And then from here, let's go to the transform actually, and we're going to use Maelstrom. Hope I pronounced that correctly. And basically, this will start to just twist and kind of distort the overall cube. So for this, we're going to need a radius and then some degrees. So we can right-click on there. I'm just going to use the second radius because the first one would be more centered. And let's type in 125 for the angles. And you'll start to see nothing's really happening because basically we're just kind of rotating everything, right? So what we need to do is actually probably rotate the cube in different directions. So it might not look like it's not doing anything, but it in fact is. So if we bake this out, you'll see the UVs are getting all spun out. So what we want to do is instead rotate this whole thing, and we'll start to affect the corners. So from here we'll just type in rotate, and let's type in XZ plane and YZ plane. Okay, just like that. So the first one will go, we can just copy and paste that. First one will go to the YZ, second right click degrees, and we can start to mess with the actual angle of the box there. This one's going to go into here, angles go in the same thing, and then we can rotate the box from there, and then we'll plug it into the Maelstrom. And if we hide everything, you'll start to see we're distorting the box really quickly and easily. Okay, so if we move the rotation, basically it's going to start to really distort that box really quickly. Okay, I'm just going to bring it around in there, and then if we start to mess with the overall radius of that distortion, you'll see the box gets more and more distorted. Okay, so that's looking actually pretty good to me so far. We might want to change it, after maybe a bit. Yeah, and then from here, let's do another distortion. And what we'll do is, let's say a spatial deform. And what we need to do is actually get some points. And from here, what we can do is just type in populate geometry. We'll populate that, the initial box. And we don't want too many, so I'm just going to type in 15. And from here, what we need to do is create a vector. So the spatial deform, it needs some geometry, some points, and some forces. So from here, I'm just going to type in vector 2 point. And the first one will be our populated points. And I'm just going to type in volume, and that'll give us the centroid volume to the box. Or you could type in XYZ to construct a point since everything's on 0, 0, 0 mark. Then we're going to need an amplitude to play with the vector. We'll plug it into the force. And let's just start out with like 50 for now. And we need to plug the points into the populate geo. And I think it might get a little heavy. So let's just try meshing it for now. Hopefully that doesn't kill it. Okay, looks like it went fast, so that's a good thing. Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna hide all the rest, a little bit distracting. So that's looking pretty crazy already. And so if we were to kind of mess with the number here, you'll see the points are going in. And if you wanted them to go outward, you just type in negative. Basically, it'll start to kind of inflate the overall model there. Let's get some really crazy stuff happening just from a cube. I think I want them to go in, so we create kind of cool little pockets in there. I'm gonna bring it down so we don't totally distort the overall figure. That's looking pretty nice already. If we play with the rotation, obviously we're going to get all sorts of different generations of this model. I kind of like it in there. All right, and then just add a little bit of texture to the scene. I'm just going to type in contour, And the contours should run really quick since we meshed everything. I'm going to run them in the X direction for now. And let's just do 1, see where our contours are at. So I think that's going to turn out really nice. Okay, I'm just going to bring that a hair lower. Maybe we're out right in there. Okay, and then from here we're just going to type in bounding box, or bounding surfaces, sorry. And let's just hide all this. And so we don't have to bake every time. I'm just going to type in custom preview. Hide all that. And go to rendered and see what it starts to look like. That's looking really cool. This all should run relatively smoothly. So if we were to move the box or rotate it, we can start to figure out, you know, what we're actually looking for. Make it crazy as you wish. That's looking pretty good, at least in my eyes. And then if we play with the overall spatial deform, you know, we could bring it down so it's just that twisted box. Or so. Or we could kind of bring it back up. I like it kind of higher. Right in there is right where I think I prefer. Still getting some crazy portions happening, but it's semi-legible. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Okay. What else do we want to mess with? I guess we could mess with this for forever. So if you go too overly rotated, basically it's going to just kind of return to what the box looks like. So I don't necessarily want that either. I think the 214 for me is looking pretty good. Let's ramp up the spatial deform. Maybe slightly lower. Let's do 65 maybe. There we go. That's looking nice. Especially this one. That looks great. Awesome. So I think we'll work with that. One thing I want to do is take the edges, and we're going to apply a mesh pipe to them. I'm going to make sure this, hopefully this doesn't crash everything, but we're going to need a really small radius for these. I'm just going to type in 0.1. There we go. And these goofy little areas, don't worry about them. They might not bake out, but it just means we just can't have them going to like out to infinity, basically. I'm just going to join all those and make things easier. Let's make the plates, actually join those out as well. Then we don't have to worry about grouping them. So that's looking pretty sweet already. Both sides are pretty good. A lot of kind of different things happening, a lot of intersections. Like this side's probably my favorite. So I'm just going to bake these out. This is what we'll probably be working with for today. Okay, and to tell you the truth, I might get rid of some of these meshes. So like these two, we'll just hold Control Shift and delete them out. These as well. Some of them I don't mind. So actually I might get rid of these. There we go, nice and clean. All right, and then let's apply some materials to this. And just to add a little bit extra, and we could do this in Rhino as well, but we might want to mirror all these together. I'm going to redo that mesh pipe real quick, make the radius quite a bit smaller. Turn this up. Let's bring it down to like there. those I think will be our lights. Let's tone it down. Let's do 0.05 maybe. Looks good. There we go. Actually less difficulties with the mesh too, which is great. Awesome. So I'm just going to make that our light layer for now, and maybe we'll switch it out in Lumion. And then I'm just going to go into Arctic mode, see which one is our best view. This looks like the best view for showing off the depth and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is actually mirror it from here. So that looks good to me. Okay, and then we're just going to go in plan view, see where it's sitting. So our camera's sitting there, I believe. Let's just see where it's at. Oh, we're actually sitting there. Okay, so F6 is to show your camera. What's the other side look like? I think I like this side more. All right, and from here, what I'm going to do is just try to rotate it manually. Try to get it straight so when we do some more mirroring, it kind of sits on itself. Okay, and then from here, what I might do is just tap Alt, rotate it around, and we'll show off the other side. Something like that, and then I might just push it back. Out just a hair more. Getting some pretty cool figures happening there. That's awesome. Okay, then we'll just mirror it on itself again. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's looking pretty cool. And then I'm going to turn off our camera and let's just mirror everything. I'll just move these forward. Get some space in between there. There we go. Very cool. So all from just kind of a distorted box. So what I'm going to do next is just try to join out each one of the materials there. And I'm just in my select tab, select by layer color. And we'll do the same thing for the lights. This might take a little bit more time. And we'll build a landscape right after this. I think these might be some sort of like wood material, and then the lights kind of sprinkled through potentially. We'll see. Let this load up. Give it just a sec. And if you guys haven't, please subscribe and like all the videos. Really makes my day when you see comments and all that stuff, especially if you guys do stuff on Instagram. Always tag. It's great to see all the work coming out of these, and hopefully we'll continue to do more. Just give it a few more seconds here. A lot of meshes to join. All right, and after about 15 more seconds, it actually joined. So what we're going to do is just do the usual type in bounding box. Okay, we'll lock down our model, and I'm going to explode that out, and we'll use our gumball to kind of stretch out the sight there. And let's see, let's go into Arctic mode, see what kind of landscape we should do for today. So maybe there's kind of some hillsides kind of rolling through and waterway or something. So we'll type in rebuild. 125 looks fine. Okay. And from here, let's just make some hills that kind of wrap around it. Just like that. We can maybe do some squigglies, do the same thing, maybe kind of a symmetrical landscape, or semi-symmetrical. Awesome. And let's bring those pretty far up. All right, let's make the waterway go kind of straight through. I'm going to decrease my brush. There we go. You just do that by holding Shift and dragging your mouse. Let's bring it down, not as far as the mountains, or the hills, sorry. And we'll just type in smooth. Might have to do it a couple times. And maybe we'll do it one more time. Kind of lost the waterway, but that's fine. Okay, I'm going to try to center it just a bit more into the landscape. Okay, I'm going to turn the points on one more time, and we'll bring back that waterway. And we'll lower it down. Looks like it's not totally all the way through the center. Let's just kind of repeat that line. There we go. Type in smooth again. Excellent. We'll give it a plane for some water to run through. We'll have to lower it. Well, it looks like our waterway turned into more of a pond, which is fine. And we'll just change that to water. Yep. And we'll change this to grass. I think that'll be fine. And one thing I'm going to do is just add that soil layer. So hit holding tap and scaling one direction. Basically this will be the grass, this will be the soil that leads into the water. Just like so. And what other thing? I'm just going to scale these both in one direction. Bring up our water. Just like that. And we're just going to drop it all down. So maybe this is just partially in water, partially out. And let's just scale it all together so it looks a little bit bigger than the actual landscape there. And we should be, that's looking pretty good. So if we unlock, go to Arctic mode, see what it's starting to look like. I think that's it. We'll head on over to Lumion. All right, so it loaded up a little bit slower than typically, just because probably the mesh types, but here it is. So let's just start to apply some materials to the overall scene. Let's give it a second. There we go. All right, let's start with maybe the various. Let's do some grass. That looks great. Okay, maybe we'll do some sort of stone maybe through here. Looks pretty good. The water looks pretty blue, but I think we'll just leave it for today. And this portion I think is going to be wood. And if it doesn't look right, well, we can change it. Maybe some kind of shiplap or chevron. That could look nice. And let's see what the lights do for us. And in here, typically I always just go with the stone or something equivalent. And just turn the emissive layer up just a bit, not too high. That looks pretty good. Let's start adding some vegetation to the overall scene. Maybe we'll paint the outside with some conifer trees. Norway spruce looks pretty good. Might be a little bit too big. That's pretty big too. That's a little bit too small. Alright, that looks fine. And we'll just give it a nice coverage throughout the outside of the scene. I'm going to cover up where our river was supposed to go. Okay, we'll do the same through over here. Remember, we're just, especially when you're doing renderings like this, you're just kind of doing what you see. So I wouldn't get it hung up necessarily on painting the overall scene. Through here I typically do just because shadows will start to appear, which kind of add detail to the overall scene. And let's do some grass maybe. Maybe some different colors. We'll just kind of paint it through out the area here. Let's increase the density quite a bit. We might have to get up close to the actual model to do any more work. That grass might be a little bit too green, but we could probably fix that later on down the road here. I'm going to just physically place the grass through here. There we go. Just so it looks kind of filled around our model. Let's switch out that density just a bit. Maybe some taller stuff. What else do we have? What's that looking like? That looks pretty good. Not so lime green. Okay. Do that over here as well. Kind of just fill it out. What else do we have in this particular one? Ivy wall's not good. What's an ivy flower look like? That's more like, looks like it's gonna be in a garden or something. Japanese maple. Looks just fine. Kind of calms down the neon green looking stuff. So that looks pretty good. I'm thinking there might be a boat in here. Maybe a smaller boat. We don't need an army of boats. I'm just going to lower his scale just a hair. Looks like we need to delete out a couple plants in the scene. Looks like that's it. And let's put some fog in the background. I'm just going to hand do this. We'll make it just a bit more moody. If it doesn't look good, we can always take it out. Awesome. So let's see what the rendering potentially is going to look like. Let's get our view. I think that's going to look pretty good. Okay, maybe something like this. We'll save it for now. Let's do maybe some sort of dawn shot. Let's see what that's looking pretty good already. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get this centered out a little bit. I'm going to bring out the focal length so kind of get a little bit closer perspective to the overall model. We'll zoom out. Get it relatively centered. Okay, I might lower our camera a bit more eye level. That looks pretty good to me. Let's play with the real sky settings really quickly. I'm definitely going to probably have to add a sun in here just to get the shadows to be a little bit more defined. I'm not too sure about this sky, so let's try an evening. Get it nice and moody. You know, what we might have to do is just make our own sky. Let's turn that off. Let's turn on, let's get our 2-point perspective set up nicely. Let's go to sky, sky and clouds, master sky mount, bring that up. Bring the low clouds there, get some high clouds in there as well. Even though I don't really see any, that's fine though. Okay, we'll get a sun. Alright, let's bring that way down. And let's see what kind of shadows we get out of this. the light might be a little bit too bright. So we'll have to play with that quite a bit. Now it's kind of a battle between like a night shot or a daytime shot. So let's try a daytime shot, see if we can get those shadows to really pop in here. That might be it. I'm liking that, okay? And maybe instead of lights, let's just change it to a darker material potentially. Maybe just a darker wood. Give it some time to load up there. Okay, let's go back indoors. Might be a little bit too dark. What do they have? Wood floor, sure. And let's see what that's starting to look like. I'm liking that quite a bit. Now if we can just play with the sun settings just a bit more. Maybe we'll put that guy in the boat right in the center as well. Okay, and what if we change out this material for something a little bit lighter? Then it'll look a little bit more like our Rhino model. Let's just try that out. I have to say I'm kind of liking that. And then this water is a little bit too green for my liking. Give it some time to load up there. Let's go back to water, various. There we go. Might still look kind of green in the scene, but that's a little bit too crystal clear for me. We need a little bit of wave ripple. Shouldn't be just a mirror. Wait for that to load again. Clear lake might work. Okay. And what we'll do is let's just try out some weather settings just to see what it gives us. I do like that. I'm going to just turn down the rain droplets coming in. Let's add some more fog. There we go. Really liking that, okay? And then let's try one more material change, otherwise we'll go right back. Wait for it to load up again. A lot of geometry in here. Let's try something shiny. What's this look like? I think the other one was a little bit better. I feel like we're not getting enough shadows and spots. Let's just go back. Too reflective potentially. Go to indoor here. Give that a try again. Almost looks like cartoony with the outlines everywhere, which I think is a good thing. I think that'll be it. So we'll render this out and we'll head on over to Photoshop. All right, so I adjusted the sun, and then also the darker material is making it almost look a little bit too cartoonish, so I just changed it to a kind of a gold color. So let's just get to Photoshop in here. So if I'm gonna just try out the auto color settings, that looks pretty good. Auto tone, I don't like that one. And auto contrast, I don't see anything. And let's go up to image again. Let's go to brightness contrast, and let's just brighten up the overall scene there. Somewhere around in here, looks pretty good to me. Now I'm just gonna use the burn and dodge tool to highlight some of the green areas, highlight some of the lighter areas just a little bit. Just bring out some of the colorations that are starting to happen. I've never used that soil material before, and it looks pretty good. And let's bring out some of the blues in here. Overall scene's looking great. I'm gonna darken up the sky just a bit. Looks pretty good. Okay. And we'll Control-Shift-N for vignetting. We'll do the top. Oop, might be a little bit too much there. Something about like that. Other than that, I think we're all finished up. So again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and tell your friends and like. We just hit over 2,000, which is pretty crazy because we haven't been doing it super long. So thanks for everybody for watching these, and we'll continue to do more. And that's about it. So thanks so much, and I will be talking with you soon.